Good morning to everybody. My name is Lorenza Petrini. I am the coordinator of the course of Architettura delle Costruzioni, or in English Building Architecture. In this presentation, I will quickly describe you the organization of the course, while Professoressa Folli will present you the approach and the philosophy that we use in this course to teach architecture. And after that, there will be 8 students that will talk about their experience in this course. Also, are here other 2 professors, Professoressa Battisti and Professoressa Pistida, that are ready to answer your questions about specific arguments related to their courses. I will in English because there are some international students, but I know also that there are some Italian students that perhaps they are interested more in the Italian part of the course. However, I will describe both of them now, and you can ask questions of both the Italian path and the English path. So just start to give you a brief introduction to this master course. This master degree has a main object to work on the project, and in particular to approach to deepen the relationship between the artistic and the technical scientific dimension of architecture. Our goal is to prepare our European and world architects that are able to respond to the complexity of problems related to design, construction, and preservations. And you will see that these 3 words will be present in all the organization of the master degree. And we believe that it is fundamental to have all the knowledge from the architectural and technical point of view to approach, as I told you before, the complexity of the design of architecture. And we will discuss in our courses and studio about form, language, typology, structure, and appropriate construction techniques. So we want to study all the ingredients that are in a project of architecture. And the studio is the center of this master degree, is a place of comparison and synthesis of all the disciplines. And what is specific of this master degree is that in the studio there are more from 3 to 5 teachers that are present in the studio. They teach different modules, different subjects, but they work together with the students and they guide them to the definition of the architectural and executive details. So the project is developed by the student in all architectural, structural, and technological aspects, exactly as it happens in the professional mode, where the planning is an integrated planning. And what is also very important that the student works together in groups. So all the studio works are done in groups, and because it is very important to also develop interpersonal relationships. So as I told before, we have 2 different paths. One is in Italian language and the other one is in English. And you can find all the information that you need, also a lot of master degree works and drawings of the studio and so on in our website www.architettura-delle-costruzioni.polimi.it, and I also put this presentation in this on this website. I forgot to tell you that please, if you have questions, don't be shy. Stop me, and you can switch on the microphone, and you can ask any question that you are interested in. So, sorry. Okay. First year, we have, as I told you before, the studio are the center of this course. So we have 2 studios. You can choose one of these 2 in the first year, first semester. One is architecture construction studio. It is that include the technological design, structural design, site survey, setting out, and monitoring. While the other one is architecture preservation studio, that is about restoration, reliability, and vulnerability, and site survey, setting out, and monitoring. And Professor Pistida is one of the teachers of this architecture preservation studio. So if you have a question, you can ask her. In the second semester of the first year, you have to choose between two studios that are all devoted to the design, architectural design for complex construction studio, where here we have 40 different teachers that are teaching architectural design, architectural composition, structures, and design in BIM environment. At the same time, in the second year, we have a 1 year studio, so it takes 2 semesters. It is in this case, the two studios are more defined. There are some differences between these two studios. One is Architectural Design Studio for Complex Architecture 2, while the other one is Architectural Design Studio for Restoration and Transformation of Complex Construction. Because in our opinion, it is fundamental also to have ability to work in the existing world and to be able to transform and restore existing structure. So in the first case, we can see the contribution of architectural design, structural design, technology, building service design, innovative materials for architecture, while in the second one, we have architectural design, restoration, structural design, technology, building services, and material for preservation. So you may see there are many teachers that all together works with you on your project. Also, in the first year, first semester, we have one integrated courses, which is architectures and material for historic heritage. Again, the existing structure are important for us. So here you will approach theories of restoration and materials in architecture. While in the second year, we have another integrated course more devoted to the structural modeling and numerical calculation. Obviously, studio are also the competences that you need for designing are also acquired in the monodisciplinary courses. So in the first year, first semester, we have planning for environmental risk and management. And the reason that also we believe that it is important to be able to design, take into account the natural risk and also human risk that now are characterizing our life in all the countries of the world. And also in the first year, first semester, we have history of building construction. Second year, first semester, other two monodisciplinary courses, planning legislation and risk-based design, again connected with the previous one, planning for environmental risk management. And finally, in the second year, so second semester, economic evaluation of the project. What is very important for us is that all these courses are in some way connected with the studio. So you will develop in these courses something that you are also developing in the studio. So for example, you will study the risks, the seismic risks of the area in which you are developing your project. Or you will make an economic evaluation of a portion, perhaps not all the studio that you are developing in the studio of the second year, the annual studio. On conclusion of the training, we have also another course, which is parametric design BIM oriented, because we believe that now it is absolutely fundamental to have knowledge about BIM. And also you have one elective course, internship, and the final exam that Professor Assofoli will explain you better how does it work. So here just to have a look at all the courses together. So in the first semester, as I told you, you have 3 monodisciplinary courses, the one about BIM, the one about risk management and construction history, one integrated course about materials architecture for historic heritage, and you can choose between 2 studios, one more related to construction, the other more related to preservation. While in the second semester, you have a big studio related to architectural design with 2 sections, and again, an integrated course about structural modeling. In the second year, first semester, you have 2 monodisciplinary courses, planning legislation and risk-based design. And you have the annual studios about architectural design studio or the architectural design studio, sorry, for complex construction or for restoration and transformation. And finally, in the second semester, economic evaluation of the project. The same study plan is present in the Italian path. The only difference that you have is in the laboratory of the first semester, because instead of the construction studio, here we have Laboratorio per la conservazione architetture complesse. But all the other monodisciplinary courses, integrated courses, and studios are exactly the same. The structure is absolutely the same as the ones that I described for the building architecture path. Okay, the next year we will have 2 visiting professors. One is Professor Maurizio Sabini from Dury University in the United States of America, and he will teach in the Laboratorio di Architettura delle Costruzioni Complesse 1 in the Italian path, as well as he will teach in one of the 2 sections of the architectural design for complex construction studio of the first year, second semester. Parallel to Maurizio Sabini, in the other section of the studio of the first year, second semester, we will have the Professor Cohen from Maastricht University. Some news about, some information about our graduates. This information are related to the year 2017. So more than 90% of our student is now working as an architect, and they found a job in less than 6 months, and the net salary is around 1,200 euros. Of this, of the interview, 10 was foreign student, because in the 2017 just a small portion of the building architecture studio was started, so we had just a few students, and the other one were Italian students. And at the moment, the more than 10% of the students are working abroad, while the other part are working in Italy. Also, the course offers you the possibility to make some exchanges in Europe with the Erasmus project, and here are all the other universities that are in connection with the Polytechnic of Milan, and also here there is a list of states where you can go through the Erasmus project, but also you can go abroad all around the world, thank you to many bilateral program with extra UE universities. And finally, you have also the possibility to take a double degree, and here are shown the other universities that are connection with the Politecnico, and just now we have signed a double degree with the Cardiff University of Perth in Australia. Just to finish, here are the contacts for double degree and for Erasmus, and also I suggest you to have a look to this video that at the Politecnico of Milan have just prepared to present you the possibilities of a next Erasmus project after COVID-19. As I told you, I will put this presentation on the website of the course, so we can take the link from that and see what they are communicating you about the next possibilities. In any case, in September there will be a strong work by our office devoted to Erasmus project to explain you all the possibilities and what will happen in the next future for Erasmus students. Now I leave the word to Professoressa Folli, that will explain you more in detail which are the contents and the approach of this course, specific of this course. So thank you, Professoressa Folli.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Maria Grazia Folli, and I teach architectural design in one of the studios of the building architecture program. Of this course of study, Professor Petrini described the general framework. I will briefly talk about just the design studios, not getting into the particular program that will be carried out, but trying to explain the main meanings and goals of the project design laboratories. First of all, I would like to say that the teaching learning of the studios their contents, methodologies, themes, and goals are defined strongly related to reality. We consider with attention the reality, its situation, needs, urgencies, because reality is the frame in which the architects work. And then in which we can understand what are nowadays conditions, opportunities, tasks for the profession of architect, then the useful and necessary skills. Everywhere in the world, the scenarios we live in are very complex, unstable, critical, full of problems that require solutions. Some of these problems are specific architect duties. Indeed, only architects have the arduous but very fascinating responsibility to preserve, to transform, to improve the living spaces, taking care of the existing and designing new sustainable buildings. I use the adjective sustainable in a broad sense. Sustainable means consistent with the needs of people and environments. Sustainable because responsible towards aesthetic, constructive, functional, and economic dimension of each architecture. So a sustainable design for a resilient future involves a conscious figure of architect. An architect equipped with theoretical and technical skills essential for interacting effectively with these difficult realities, having a clear vision of the present and the future. In this logic, an architecture considered as a purely aesthetic component or as a notos brand doesn't interest us. The training design project must allow architecture which are real essential resources of reality. So methods, disciplinary paradigms, contents of the studios are strongly finalized to this cultural and ethical approach, allowing the basic knowledge about the form, structure, and function and their fundamental interaction. Must be clear that in a responsible building, the beauty must incorporate the wisdom of building, of the care resources, of natural and anthropic environment, of the past heritage of human needs. For these reasons, our studios are characterized by the interdisciplinarity of the teaching, the monodisciplinarity or the accumulation of many single knowledge according with the encyclopedic model have proved insufficient to understand the complexity of the reality and to act in it. On the contrary, it is precisely the interaction between knowledge that can allow architects the tools able to conceive the general architectural idea, to develop it, controlling the whole design process. Because it is always the architect, the director, in the development of the entire project design. Then the laboratories are composed, as explained by Professor Petrini, of different disciplines, of technical and humanistic teachings. In the tradition, moreover, of that scientific humanism strongly related to the needs of societies that has characterized the Polytechnic culture from its origin in the end of 19. The combination of disciplines changes in relation to the aims of the different studios, which constitute the 2 years master training offer. Some studios are mandatory, others are optional, allowing students to deepen more areas of knowledge and experience according with their interests and aptitudes. The studios activities is always made by lectures, design researches, workshop that face, depending on the studio's aims, the project of the new architecture, the project related to the preservation of heritage, the project of restoration and transformation of the existing. The first year is characterized, as it was explained, by disciplinary courses and by the centrality of the two studios. The first one in the first semester can be chosen by students between 2 options. The architectural construction studio, which aims to develop the ability of integrating some fundamental technical skills to support the architectural design process. These skills are structural and technological competencies, and the 3D surveying and mapping abilities. The other possibilities for students is to take the architecture preservation studio. This laboratory deals with the crucial issue of the preservation of those heritages which strongly contribute to representing everywhere the cultural and social identity of the places. In the studio, restoration, reliability and vulnerability and site survey provide knowledge, concept techniques for the protection, restoration and enhancement of historical buildings. This means to learn how to deal with the conservation of this building, but also how to give this architecture an active role within the contemporary cities and landscapes. In the second semester of the first year, the architectural design for complex construction studio allows all students, because it is mandatory, to tackle the design process of the new building through the integration of architectural design and composition, structures, technology, and design built environment. And the discipline will work together, addressing themes and places chosen because strategic, then relevant topical real situations that require responsible interventions as a project the student will face dealing with real urban transformation, participating in international competitions, interacting with public administration, with external experts, etc. The project will be approached with conceptual concreteness. It is essential, first of all, to build ideas and goals aimed at representing cultural, aesthetic, symbolic and functional values, because this is the civilian task of each architecture. The ideas in order to become sustainable architecture must use the most advanced structural and technical knowledge, and as well as innovative typologies and languages, also digital tools, such as the building information modeling that allows a new form of interoperability between the different components and actors present in each project. In the second year, students will take a one-year single laboratory, having the choice between two orientations. One is the continuation of the first year architectural design construction studio, and the second year of this laboratory will have the same methodology, but more disciplinary integrations to architectural design, structure and BIM are added building services design and innovative materials. Team places aims will be different from that of the first year to ensure students more design experiences facing ever higher level of complexity towards the final degree project. The other option is the architectural design studio for restoration and transformation of complex constructions, in which with the architectural design structure and BIM are present disciplines as restoration and materials for preservation. Everywhere there are many important ancient or modern buildings that ask interventions, not only for restoration, but also for adaptation to new uses, which require modification, extensions, addition, etc. Then this studio deals with the important issue of the dialectic between restoration and new construction, defining and teaching theoretical and practical tools that want to solve in a unity of purposes the relationship between the culture of conservation and the culture of the project of new building. It means, and this is very interesting, to work about the congruence and the integration of forms, languages, techniques, materials belonging to the past and to the contemporary. The final consideration concerns the interaction between teachers and students. This ambitious framework doesn't work if a strong mutual exchange is not established between teachers and students and between the students themselves. Doesn't work if the passion for the architecture is not shared, as well as the purpose of developing the project together with effort and enthusiasm. The internationality of the course of study and the wealth of different cultural background of students is an added value which increases the interest in debate, confrontation, openness to the whole world. It is I think, a virtuous condition that will promote attitudes and abilities of rationality and imagination. Also, the possibility to dream, which is essential for any creative process. And the very last thing that I would like to say is about the after graduation. The training based, as I said, on the interaction with reality using effective and innovative tools is highly appreciated in the world of the work. And despite the difficulties of this historical moment, many of our graduates are working in the most with a great level of success, working in the most important international firms, or with the same success are working for yourselves. Others with equally satisfaction are pursuing PhD courses and study and research activity. Then I think that it's very important for the master students to have a clear idea of the possibility about their future. Now could be useful to listen to the brief intervention of some students that are taking these studios and then can describe their experience. I hope I was helpful and enough clear. I am available to answer your question, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Folli. Thank you very much. So Francesca will start with her comments, and then we will have the other student. Thank you, Francesca.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Francesca Fakinetti, and I'm attending the first year of the building architecture course. So I decided to attend this course because I thought this would be the way to learn new insights in architecture studies and apply them in the future project. And as the professor said before, I learn different knowledges that are now of service of the project, we may say. So this is why I decided to attend this course, and now after the first year, I'm able to affirm that this is what I was looking for, and my hopes have been fulfilled. So furthermore, I acquired more and new fundamental skills, we may say, and as I said before, now they are part of my project, and so from part of my laboratory. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. So I would like to meet Hifei, if she can speak and show herself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk a little some experience during the semester in the course Architecture Design Studio for Complex Construction. Actually, this is my first attempt to design a high-rise building, and I have not been exposed to this content in previous courses. When I listened to the professor's introduction for the first time in class, I found that there are many differences between high-rise building and other types of building. First of all, the development of high-rise building changes slowly with the development of social needs and technology. On the other hand, the functions of this type of building are very mixed and can include many different functions, but this will also affect the subsequent design. For example, how to implement these functions at the same time without being affected by each other. The design made by my colleagues and me is based on the current special circumstances. We try to design a high-rise building with flexible functions. Usually it can include business, hotels, activity centers, and other functions. And in the emergency use, it will be used as a medical building as a whole. In the whole process, I think the most difficult places is the relationship between the ground floor and the city, the scheme, and the structure of the building. For the urban relations, a higher level building needs to be in harmony with its space first, but it can also bring some benefits to the surroundings. Our base is alongside the Huangpu River in Shanghai, so the ground floor needs to connect to the river and to the city, and the ground floor should be more open and should play an active and connected role. The scheme needs to consider not only the lighting problem, but also the structure support of the glass. We use the double layer method and found that the relationship between the outer layer and the inner layer is the most important one, because the inner skin can be seen on the side. In terms of the structure, it's necessary to consider not only the impact to the internal spaces, but also whether it can support the entire building. In this regard, we tend to ignore the vertical structure support, but it's not possible to support only the core for high-rise buildings. And now the course is almost over. I feel that by solving these problems during this time, I have learned a lot of new things and feel that I've been of great help to me. I'm very happy to complete this course with Professor Foley. In the process, the professor gave us a lot of help and gave us many reference openings and cases. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and now I ask to Montero Lopez Maria if she can say something.
Good morning, Professor. I hope that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Basically, I wanted to give you a quick look at what we've been doing. What I like the most about this project and this course that I can add to my previous colleague is the integration of design with the BIM environment. So Professor Foley has really made it an important point to have us really think about the design and think about how it impacts the users, the visitors, and the urban development of the area. So we have gone from a macro to a micro area, but thanks to the BIM environment and our teachers in that side, we have also learned this very specific tools that for the first time, at least in my career, I have been able to apply in the exact building that I am designing. So as opposed to having just learning the tools and on the other side, learning to design, we have married the two together. And at least for me, this has made the learning experience much more enriching. I do wanted to say that it is a little unfortunate that we have had this semester on this long distance, but thankfully some good things have come of it. So learning to work with people all around the world and learning how to manage all different schedules has been incredible, and I think it's going to be a really useful tool if we want to work internationally in the future. Thank you very much, and thank you to Professor Foley as well.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. So I asked to Nika Malazona if he can make his intervention.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nika. I'm a recent graduate of the course, and I basically finished my master's degree at the end of April. And I'd like to just add a couple of words about the second year studio, the annual studio. So in my case, I picked the studio that was called Architectural Design for Restoration of Complex Architecture, and it mainly develops around the ideas of preservation and transformation in architecture. Now, what I liked the most about the studio was that it kind of challenges the cliche ideas about the architecture being necessarily tied to the production of the new form. So, you know, we live in a time when we are building higher, faster, and in general more than at any given time throughout the human history. So the typical perception of architecture is that it has to produce some new shape. But as Rem Koolhaas said in one of his books, star architecture basically is like an exaggerated form of involuntary newness. So it's safe to say that as for today, we kind of have more than enough buildings. And a lot of them are even habitable structures that are like subject to demolition just to be replaced by a similar one. Even besides that point, especially lately, the sustainability and environmentalism became like two of the catchphrases of architecture. And we hear speeches about the new materials, less carbon emissions, so on. But what is more sustainable than instead of building something new, actually using something that you already have? Of course, transforming it, adjusting it, reusing it. And that's all good, but the catch is that it's not that easy to do. But hopefully and luckily, the course actually provides all the information and knowledge to deal with projects like that, because you need to know the typical proportions of the buildings, methods used in the past, history of construction, how to conserve historic materials, so much more, and everything that is taught in the studio. So the studio itself is extremely multidisciplinary. You will have the teachers from various fields, and each of them is a practicing expert in the field. These fields include architectural design, architectural technology, building information modeling, structural design, material conservation, MEP systems, so much more. And basically working in such surrounding imitates to its fullness what you'll be going through during a real life project, because architect is never involved in only the design phase of the project. And if you want the building to look exactly the way you imagined, you kind of have to dig deeper and like get into the details that go into the building itself. So, for example, in my case, the main theme of the studio was to deal with a building complex located in Milan. It's called Società Umanitaria. And I'm not going to go too deep in the details of the project, but I'll just quickly explain that the building itself was part of the church that dates as far back as 1500s. Then it was separated between the Società Umanitaria institution and the church itself in 1900s. Then it was bombed in the Second World War. Then it was reconstructed in 60s. So you can basically imagine how many layers of history that building has. And like dealing with projects like that in a way that the interventions are minimal in size, but they are maximum in terms of the impact was extremely hard. But like thankfully, throughout the course, we did site surveys. We studied the existing buildings and building materials, worked on 3D laser scans and point cloud models. We spent hours and hours in archives digging through the historical pictures, historical documents and drawings, attended exhibitions. We had field trips in Milan. We went to Verona. We even went to Switzerland. It's basically an incredible studio full of great opportunities. And it will teach you a lot, not only in terms of skills, but also in terms of the awareness and just the general way of thinking. So if you have any question about that later on, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Nika. So I give the word to Miljana Langovic.
Hello everyone, my name is Miljana and I graduated in April in Building Architecture course. I chose this course because I wanted to learn something more specific in comparison to bachelor studies, and I'm interested in those topics held in this course. I would like to highlight and speak more specific about a studio from second year, restoration and transformation of complex construction, and it was later the basis for my thesis work. It is complex because it consists of 5 different topics. The most important ones are structures, and I learned a lot about contemporary structures and technologies and BIM technology. We had the opportunity to see the advantages of BIM, and we learned new programs and that are later used for our future. The other important part is restoration part, and I'm grateful for that part because that was the first time I was dealing with restoration through my studies, and I think it's really significant to learn about preservation in Italy, since it's the country that is taking care of historical heritage in architecture in reality. And facing those few tasks was challenging. It was a lot of thinking, problem solving, brainstorming, but later seeing the result of it as a high quality project gives the quality of the course and the greatness. And I think I was growing through this process as a future architect. And if you like the topics of this course, I truly recommend it. And I just wanted to say that after a month from graduation, I already found the job in my home country. And for any further questions, you can ask later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I give the floor to Diana Marisol.
Hello everybody. I'm Marisol. I'm calling you from Mexico. Okay, first I'll be talking you about my experience in the preservation studio. First of all, I didn't expect to enjoy this studio as much as I did. I come from a couple of years working on construction. So construction of modern skyscrapers. So I want to change a little bit. I want to think a little bit out of the box with this master. So I chose this studio, and everything was completely new. This gave me a great amount of new knowledge, and you can see the architecture in a different way. As you know, this studio is divided in 3 topics: the preservation, structural design, and the survey method. First, the preservation class was my favorite, and I learned the role of how the history affects the construction. This will open your mind. This will open your mind on how you reflect yourself on architecture and how you appreciate it in the future. So you can know now in an urban scale or in the materials and how to appreciate the decay in which a building presented to you, and which are the techniques and how to implement it to this restoration and preservation process. The other part is the structural analysis. This was very useful for me because as an architect, I learned how to easily connect with the structure of a building, how to easily adapt and identify the decay, how a structure will work, how can the basic loads are identifying, and how to make the calculation. So for an architect, I think this kind of pre-dimensioning and knowledge is very, very important. From the survey, for next semester students, don't freak out with the first fastest lectures, okay? They seem impossible at first, but when you try all the interdisciplinary knowledge and equipment and you merge them all together in a really great result, you will see how this knowledge applies and how you can use it in everything that you sign up for, in work, in the school. Like it really helped you, these tools for your future. I want to mention especially the trip. The trip was amazing. Don't miss the trip. We went to Cornelo de Itazo, and it was an amazing experience. Not only because we took all the knowledge from the lectures and apply it on site, and we make it easier to learn. It's just that in this trip we came from being strangers that take classes together. After the trip, we bonded, we make friends, we knew each other. So this was one of the greatest experience for me as long as I'm studying my master. Just at the end of this course, you will find yourself walking down the street and pointing out every crack and every decay and every water and everything. Everything you see, you will know why it's there, what is happening with the building, what is happening with the constructions around you. So I think for me, this studio make my master's degree experience a lot more enjoyable and unforgettable. I really hope it will make it for you too. Thank you.
So Marisol, many thanks for your experience. And now we leave the word to Natalia Okaliova.
Yes, hi everyone. Okay, so I think the students before made it very clear about the specific studio work. So I will try to be a bit more general and basically just try to encourage the future students in definitely choosing Polimi thanks to my experience. Right now I'm about to graduate, I hope in October, so I'm almost in the end. And I can tell you this much. I've been living in 5 countries. I studied at 3 universities, and I can tell you that Politecnico gave me one of the strongest foundations when it comes to theory and integration of this theory towards the projects. So I have preservation studio, I had construction studio, and all the other subjects as everyone else. I had a chance to work on the construction studio with the visiting professor, very famous professor from Germany. As mentioned before, we took a lot of study trips that made it really clear and exciting for everyone. But what really made Polimi special in general is that, so it takes a lot of energy and a lot of work and a lot of hours, but at the same time, as much as you give, you gradually receive it back, especially from the amazing professors and their assistants. I feel that they work 24/7 and they really were and are a big support to my education. And at the same time, all my classmates, I don't know if I'm just lucky in this specific year, but especially the classmates are very talented from different backgrounds, and it motivates you really work even harder and explore everything there is in Italy. So I don't know, I think to wrap it up, definitely choose Polimi if you want to be confident and have a nice strong foundation to your future career as an architect. This is it.
So Natalia, many thanks for your words. And now we have Maria Mikeva.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
okay,
so
now we also see you.
Okay, great. So hello to everyone. I just want to shortly introduce myself. My name is Maria, as you said. I'm from Russia, from Moscow, and I'm a group mate of Natalia, who was speaking before. And now I'm basically doing my last semester, and it has been 2 years already of my study experience in Politecnico di Milano. And I think that also a lot of students spoke about different studios and about, in general, the study process in Politecnico di Milano. But I want to focus more about actually very important topic, and I think a final goal of every student in university is the possibility to find an internship and also to find finally a job. So I'm studying in a building architecture program, and I'm doing now complex construction studio with Professor Battisti. And in our program, the internship included, and is compulsory one, it consists of 150 hours. And in this case, also in my studio, there was a visiting professor from Holland, and it was a great chance because in this case, it was very helpful to find actually an internship without any problems, because professor recommended me to the office, and I was able to come to Holland, which was actually a great experience because in this case, I collected different information, different backgrounds from different countries. So while studying in Italy, I had a chance also to work in Holland. And I was kind of worried before because I also was working in Moscow, but it's completely different story because it's different mentality, different culture, different approach. So everything is different. But actually, finally, I understand the background and also the amount of knowledge that I got in Politecnico di Milano was more than enough to show my best, let's say. And yes, and also I would like to say that 1 month ago, even I got an offer from this company. And yes, so they offered for me to come in October and to start to work like in a permanent way. So I think it's really great. Also, I don't know, of course, knowledge and so on, but also university, it's a very famous one. And yes, so I think it gives even a chance to find a job while studying. So not to have a space in between, but I don't know, just to continue working in this way and to develop yourself as a professional architect. So like this. That's it.
So, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for your words. It is we are happy to hear you with your comments, and now I would be happy to hear somebody from the audience to know if there are some questions or some observations or something. You can switch on your microphone if you want. You can make us ask something to me or to the students or graduate students and to other professor as you wish. As I told before, I will put the slides on the website of the course, so you can have a look by yourself to the slides. All the information are in the slides, and I don't know if nobody.
Salve, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Mi scusi, posso fare una domanda in italiano?
Certo.
Non mi sento fiducioso a fare in inglese. Per quanto riguarda l'inizio dei corsi, ci sono ancora diciamo dei cambiamenti per quanto riguarda la didattica a livello fisico? Sarà fatto online i primi mesi e poi successivamente sarà possibile venire nelle classi?
Allora, la politica che sta portando adesso avanti il Politecnico è in verità di lavorare in parallelo online e in presenza. Quindi probabilmente quello che succederà a settembre sarà che chi può muoversi e venire a Milano al Politecnico verrà in aula, anche se magari diciamo o divisi su 2 aule in parallelo oppure in serie, insomma da capire per ovviamente il rispetto delle distanze, di tutto quello che è pianificazione eccetera, e chi invece non può potrà comunque seguire online, perché questo sarà sicuramente data a tutti questa opportunità. Però al momento appunto il Politecnico sta seguendo, a differenza di altre università che hanno già dichiarato che tutto il prossimo semestre sarà online e basta, al momento il Politecnico sta verificando la fattibilità di poter dare la possibilità agli studenti di venire anche al Politecnico, non solo per il discorso di stare in aula con i docenti, ma anche veramente per avere uno spazio loro dove lavorare in gruppo eccetera, che è forse la carenza più grossa che abbiamo avuto in questo semestre. Cioè quello che è il risultato è che il problema grosso non è tanto poi il fatto che io faccia mia lezione online, e anche le revisioni alla fine funzionano, ma il problema è che non si può lavorare insieme su un progetto e diventa difficile lavorare a distanza, discutere su un progetto a distanza. Quindi stiamo cercando di venire incontro a questa esigenza, però è chiaro che è tutto ancora in divenire.
Ok, perfetto, grazie mille.
Ecco.
Salve, posso fare una domanda? In realtà 2.
Certo.
Ok, allora inizialmente vorrei chiedere, perché forse non ho capito bene io, se ci sono materie scientifiche del tipo analisi o fisica, queste materie qui, e che peso hanno. E seconda domanda è riguardo la certificazione B2, perché ad esempio io personalmente dovrei prenderla ancora, ma essendo appunto causa della pandemia e tutto il resto, è stato un po' più difficile fare il corso e successivamente anche il certificato. Quindi ci sono delle nuove politiche riguardo la certificazione? Grazie.
Rispondo, prego. Allora, per quanto riguarda fisica e analisi, le diamo per scontate, nel senso che sono materie del triennio. Quello che invece c'è qua è sicuramente una parte comunque non irrilevante di strutture, di calcolo strutturale, come di progettazione di impianti tecnici, eccetera, che chiaramente hanno come background l'analisi della fisica, però non ci sono corsi di analisi e di fisica. Quindi sì, c'è una richiesta di arrivare con un minimo di background, anche se poi si dà ovviamente il tempo di recuperare se ci sono delle lacune. È chiaro che ci deve essere l'interesse se uno mi dice a me non interessa niente sapere perché un pilastro sta in piedi e come si calcola un pilastro, il suggerimento è che forse deve valutare un attimo se questo è il suo corso di studi, perché comunque noi riteniamo che ci deve essere un'integrazione di tutti, come si diceva prima, le discipline, di tutti i saperi, e quindi un architetto non può esimersi dal sapere anche non essere un ingegnere strutturista, ma avere un'idea di che dimensioni può avere la sua struttura perché sia realizzabile, così come che impianti deve tener conto e così via. Quindi non vogliamo creare degli specialisti in tutto, ma vogliamo creare un progettista che sia in grado di essere il regista del suo progetto e portarlo a termine come vuole lui, avendo le consapevolezze di quello che sta facendo. Per quanto riguarda invece la seconda domanda sull'inglese, è stata spostata a deadline, che prima era, mi sembra, a luglio, adesso se non erro la scadenza per acquisire il certificato è a settembre. Immagino che se di nuovo non partiranno, perché non c'è la possibilità proprio di fare l'esame per avere la certificazione, sarà ancora spostata la deadline, però non penso che si toglierà la richiesta, cioè prima o poi a un certo punto uno deve presentare questo certificato compatibilmente con quella che è la condizione al contorno, ma sicuramente ci sarà la richiesta di questo certificato a un certo punto. Traduco magari in inglese la domanda di prima, non questa è un po' più tecnica. A colleague of you asked me about the next semester, how it will work in terms of teaching, and at the moment at the Polytechnic of Milan we are working to allow people that are abroad that cannot come to Italy to follow the courses on the web, as it were done during this semester, and for other students that can arrive to Milan and can stay in Milan, they probably would be allowed to go to the Politecnico and to follow at least part of the lessons in presence. However, this is something that has to be decided in the next month, also considering how the COVID pandemia is going on. Altre domande?
Scusi, posso chiedere una cosa?
Certo.
Non ho capito, lei ha detto che la scadenza di presentazione certificato inglese è fino a termine di immatricolazione o fino a presentazione della domanda di ammissione?
Allora, mi sembra di ricordare, però questo sicuramente lo spiegheranno nelle incontri che avete alle 4:30 del pomeriggio sulle ammissioni, eccetera, dove ci sarà tutta una spiegazione. Mi sembra che l'abbiano spostato al scadere dell'immatricolazione. Però questo magari verificatelo, ho sognato un attimo, posso verificare nella mail che aveva mandato, se no lo chiedete oggi pomeriggio alle 4:30, che c'è tutta la spiegazione su come funzionano le missioni, eccetera.
Grazie.
Prego. Altre domande? Magari qualche domanda, some questions to professoressa Battisti or Professoressa Pistidda. Professoressa Battisti will be the teacher of the studio of the first year, second semester of this year. The others with the Professor Gioconen, while in the other studio there will be the visiting Professor Sabini. So if you want to ask questions about the studio of the second semester, you can ask her, or otherwise to Professoressa Folli in general on the studios. I don't know, do you have some other questions? Question about the preservation studios to Professoressa Pistidda? No question at all. If you give me 1 minute, I can check for the language diploma. Let me check. If I found the info. Sorry, I cannot find the email with the info, so probably or you can write an email to me, or you can, if you will be present in the afternoon, in the presentation of the afternoon from the office of Politecnico, for sure you will have clarification about these aspects. So if no other questions are arriving, I thank you everybody for their presence here, and I hope to see you in September. And I really thank you all the students, graduate students and professors that have talked today. Thank you very much to everybody. Have a good day.